Hi, it's Erica, and I'm happy to be bringing to you this week my latest creation featuring Philadelphia cooking cream. This week we're using the original flavor, and you can really use this product any place where you would normally use regular cream cheese, except this spoonable variety makes it so much easier to use. You can, right from the fridge, just spoon it in. You can use it 100 different ways to deliver creamy, rich flavors that make your dishes taste like they came right from a restaurant. This recipe that I'll be bringing you today is going to be a ham and cheese croquette. What I really like about this recipe is that it is a great way to use up holiday leftovers. You can also just use regular deli ham, which is what I'll be using today, but it certainly lends itself to holiday hams off the bone if that's what you have. And it's a creative and fun way to use them, and it makes a delicious appetizer for you to share with your guests. So to start off this recipe, we're going to start with 2 tablespoons each of celery, carrot, and onion. You want to chop these as fine as you can. I use my mini chopper to get a very, very fine chop on them. If you don't have a mini chopper, you can certainly use a grater to grate all of the vegetables and get them nice and small. We want to saute these down until they're nice and soft. We don't want them to be crunchy in our croquette later, so it's important that they are all chopped fairly evenly and very small. So we're going to step over to the stove here, and we're going to start to saute those just for a few minutes until they're soft and the onions are translucent. Alright, so we finished sauteing our vegetables. You can see they're nice and soft. You can't hardly see the onions anymore. They're nice and translucent and cooked through. So we're going to continue with our recipe for ham and cheese croquettes. What I have in my large bowl is about 2 cups of leftover mashed potatoes. If you don't have leftover, you can certainly whip up a batch, fresh or instant. Either way, it doesn't matter. You do want to let them cool before you move on with this recipe. It'll just make them a little easier to work with. So we're going to add our sauteed vegetables to the mashed potatoes. And to that, we're also going to add 1 egg, about a ½ cup of shredded cheddar cheese. You can certainly use Swiss or any other flavor cheese that you like to go with ham. I like cheddar. And we're also going to use about a ½ cup of chopped ham. As I stated earlier, it could be deli ham, it can be leftover holiday ham from off the bone. Whatever you have, whatever strikes your fancy, it's perfectly acceptable to you. So I'm going to put that all in there. Now we're also going to add a little bit of our cooking cream just to make these extra decadent. We're not going to use the whole tub in the croquette. We're going to use the rest of it to make a nice cream sauce to serve them with. But we're going to probably use about 2 to 3 tablespoons of this cooking cream to go right into those croquettes to make them extra luscious. And that should do it. And then the rest we'll reserve for our sauce to serve them with. So put that right there. And now we just want to incorporate all this together. Going to be delicious. I can't wait to eat these. They may not look like much in this stage, but trust me, these are going to be fabulous once we get it all mixed up. And then comes the messy part. So if you have kids, they might like the next step, because that's where you get to get your hands dirty. You all know how much kids love to play with their food. Okay, so you can see that came together very quickly. Everything's all incorporated. Now at this point, if you feel like your mashed potatoes and your mixture is a little soft and might be a little difficult to work with, you may want to put it in the fridge just to let it firm up a little. At this stage, I think that mine's a little soft, so I'm going to pop that into the fridge for about 10 minutes, and then we'll come back in a little bit and we'll start making our croquettes, so stay tuned. Okay, I've let our potato mixture chill in the refrigerator. It's a little bit easier to handle now. We're ready to go ahead and start making our croquettes. So now we get to play with our food. So you want to reach in. You can use spoons if you don't really like to put your hands in things. We're just going to roll them into balls. And then from here, I've got 1 beaten egg in a dish. We're going to give it a quick roll in that. And then from there, we're going to dip them in some seasoned breadcrumbs, and this is just your standard variety Italian seasoned breadcrumbs that come in a cardboard tube. And we'll we'll just continue on until we get all of our croquettes formed and coated. And in the meantime, while I'm doing this, I've got some vegetable oil heating on my stove. And once we get these all ready to go, we're going to drop them in the oil and we're going to fry them until they're golden brown and delicious. And then we'll finish off the recipe. We'll make a quick cream sauce using the rest of our cooking cream. Don't forget, we didn't use it all yet, to serve them with. It'll just be a delicious complement to these wonderful, wonderful croquettes. So I'm going to finish rolling and patting and marking with a B here. And be right back, and we'll step over to the stove and we'll start frying, so don't go away. Okay, so on the stove I have about 4 or 5 cups of vegetable oil that I'm bringing up to temperature, get ready for frying. We're just going to give it a little test. We're going to pinch off just a little bit, drop it in there. It's coming to a nice sizzle. That means that this oil is hot enough to fry with. So we're going to very gently drop our croquettes into the oil. I'm actually going to use my little stirry tool to keep it from splashing. I think that's a wise idea. And gently, one at a time, we're just going to drop these guys into the oil and let them go. Probably take 3 or 4 minutes for these to cook all the way through and get a nice golden brown. Off to the side here I have a second plate lined with a paper towel. We'll transfer these to the paper towel lined plate once they're ready. And while those are frying, we'll also start making our dipping sauce, which will be the easiest thing ever. So this oil's a little hot. I'm going to turn it down just a bit. I don't want it to overdo it because then they'll be overdone on the outside and underdone on the inside, and we certainly don't want that. So we'll let those go. And on the other side, we're going to start with our sauce, which nothing could be easier than this sauce. We're going to take 1 cup of chicken broth, pop that in. To that, we're going to add the remainder of our cooking cream. And this is the original, so all this is going to do is make it just delicious and creamy and wonderful. To that, I'm going to add also a teaspoon each of parsley and chives. This will give it a nice color. A pinch of salt, not too much. And I'm not going to give you a specific measurement. You salt that to taste, because everybody's tastes are different when it comes to salt. And a couple of grounds of black pepper. And we'll get that all going. Turn down that heat just a little. Incorporate that all up. And by the time that heats through, we're going to have a delicious sauce to cook with. Alright, it looks like my croquettes are just about ready, so we're going to fish those babies out, and they look good. Now, because we have some more, obviously I've made more than what you see here, we can keep these warm in the oven and fry them up in batches. But you see, don't they look wonderful? Alright, I'm going to finish frying these up. We're going to let our sauce simmer down for a little bit. And when I come back, we'll plate them up and we'll show you just how delicious this looks when it all comes together. So stay with me. Okay, we have our ham and cheese croquettes plated up nicely. Our dipping sauce is also simmered down a bit. It's thickened up nicely upon standing, and they're ready to serve. I hope you give them a try, and I hope you love them. Until next time, bye.